Congress opposes night shifts for women in factories. We're asking tonight, should security concerns trump equal rights for women? Tejas Mehta with that report.
22-year-old Jyoti Chaudhary, a call center employee in Pune, was returning home in her company drop. And then, in the cover of darkness, the driver and his friend raped and strangled her to death. A horrific incident that shocked India but ensured the BPO industry and the police reviewed safety measures for women working late into the night. The center wants to enable women to work on the graveyard shift from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. But the Congress has done a U-turn, raising security concerns, forgetting the UP had approved the same amendments in 2007. In fact, a 2006 study sponsored by the National Commission of Women found that less than 30% of women interviewed felt insecure doing the night shift, and in spite of high crime rates in cities, 71% said they felt safe, whereas 87% also agreed they were happy with the transport facilities given by their companies. But on the ground, are women welcome, especially in smaller towns?
ये महिला के लिए नाइट शिफ्ट या 24 घंटे की जो बात चल रही है, इसमें अगर काम करने के लिए ये करेंगे तो इसमें काफ़ी प्रॉब्लम्स आ सकती है। और महिलाओं को पिकअप करना उनके घर से, फिर उनकी शिफ्ट खत्म होने का तो उनको ड्रॉप करना, ये भी हमारा काम बढ़ जाएगा।
और ऐसी घटनाएं घट रही है, वारदात, जहाँ बलात्कार, ये वो, इससे तो महिलाएं डरती है ना।
घर संभाल के 24 घंटा काम तो नहीं कर सकती महिलाएं।
Mindsets will have to change if women are to work at night, and it will be a huge step towards gender parity. And be it night or day, it is the state's responsibility to ensure women feel safe and secure. After all, keeping women at home to escape sexual predators is hardly the solution. With Sunil Prabhu in Mumbai, Tejas Mehta for NDTV.
Joining us on that discussion tonight, Shobha Oza, spokesperson for the Congress and president of the Mahila Congress, Shaina NC, spokesperson for the BJP, Kavita Krishnan, Politburo member of the CPI-ML, and Karuna Nandi, advocate in the Supreme Court. Shobha Oza, if I can begin with you, what is the Congress's reason for taking the position it has done? Because to a lot of people, and they may be very good reasons for your having done so, but at least from the outside, it might appear that this is going to effectively shrink the working space for women.
See, we're not opposed to working women in the night shift. We are for gender justice, gender equality, but at the same time, we are concerned about the safety measures which would be taken by these factories where the women would be working in the night shift. Because right now the atmosphere in our country, right now we feel the country is not prepared for it, because the number of women atrocities or assault, sexual harassment which take place in our society during bright daylight, people are not safe, women are not safe, not even in their households, their own homes. We have example of a session judge resigning from a post.
But Shobha Oza, aren't you defeating your own case if you're saying that, for instance, most rapes and sexual attacks on women actually happen during the daytime? So would preventing women from working at night actually change those figures in any way? Do you have data to show that women working on the night shift, and there are already women working in several sectors, whether it's the call center or BPO sector, the retail sector, women in the media. There are many people who are working night shifts already. So why factories?
We do. Factories, actually this is a vulnerable class which is going to work in the factories. If we look at the class which is this right is supposed to be given to this class, and if we look at the factories, do we have a Vishaka committee in most of the working place, which the Supreme Court had made it compulsory, mandatory for all the working place to have a Vishaka committee? Are we going to give a safe atmosphere to our women in the factories? Are we prepared to give that safety which is a must? Are the factories going to give them a transport system which is safe again? Safety is the prime concern. What I feel as
safety is the prime concern, but shouldn't providing safety really be the responsibility of the state? Can you keep women out of the workforce? Citing safety concerns, Kavita Krishnan.
No, I think I find it really interesting how this entire thing is being framed as a granting of a right. Whereas let's be very clear that when you're making a change in the Factory Act, you're making it possible for factory owners to employ women in the night shift, and routinely they pay women less. So it's very interesting. They will want to employ women on all shifts more, especially in the garment industry and so on, precisely because they would like to turn these factories even more into sweatshops. This is how it is in Bangladesh. This is how they want to make it here. This is the framework in which this change is being brought. So I would say that why is the government moving ahead with this change without even talking to the unions, talking to the women's groups? Obviously nobody, if you ask me, I mean, women should have access to every space at every hour of day and night, and that's what we've been saying, but that's not the point.
Right.
The point here is that this is, even the existing Factory Act has provisions about safety and hygiene, for instance, which are violated in every factory. Most factories don't even have a toilet which is for women. Not only that, women are prevented from going to the toilet as often as they need. They're prevented from, changing menstrual pads and so on as often as they need. So many in the garment industry, this is a scandalous state of affairs,
Okay.
as well as in other industries. So I think in this framework, this particular Changes Act might be perceived, and we have to talk to women on the ground also about this, as opening the doors for further exploitation rather than equality. We want to do equality, start with equal pay for equal work, implementing it, which you haven't.
China NC, respond to that. This is no longer just a question about granting equal rights to women in the workplace, because the people we're talking about, factory workers over here, at the point that Kavita Krishnan is making, is that it's an extremely exploitative situation already.
Well, let me please first give you the background to this debate. The Factories Act 1948 is extremely regressive. In previous times, women were not even given the opportunity to come out and work at night. In the 21st century, when we're talking about women having equal opportunity for women to be literate, secure, economically empowered, this is a step forward. Now, it's all very well to find lacunas in the system and say, but already there are so many problems, why don't you rectify that? But why do we have double standards when it comes to gender equality? Here, the government is giving a provision where a woman has the right to work in the night shift if she so desires. It is the prerogative of the person concerned if he or she would want to do this night shift in a manufacturing unit, for example, and it is the prerogative of the owner and the employee to take onus that he or she will provide security, basic transportation, and give the basic labor wage, which is a pre-mandate. Now, if this works as a win-win situation, look at the lakhs of women today who want to work in the manufacturing sector, who want to work at night because they have to be at home for their children in the day. They get that snooze time only in the afternoon for their power naps, and they want to step out in the night. Are we going to suggest this mindset to say that, a woman is not going to be secure at her workplace?
Okay, let's
This is a very
get some
regressive
responses
thought process.
in.
I think we should
Karuna Nandi, I see
welcome
you
it
smiling
and
broadly.
work towards all these aspects are covered.
Okay.
Power naps, unfortunately, are not a regular feature of the working class. I think that this kind of misinformation, which
I'm saying
is
the opportunity
perhaps
to
informing
sleep in
the
the
bill,
day and work at night.
is there are some things about the bill that are all right, actually, which is that factory management may begin such a shift after consulting the workers. Company must arrange for transport for staff from the factory premises to the doorsteps of the residences. So this is an improvement over the UPA version, I think it was in 2005, where they said that transport must only be given to the nearest point, right? However, such wide-ranging, sweeping legislation, which is going to affect a very large number of women, cannot be passed without consulting the people who are actually going to be working in these factories and who are going to be dealing with these issues. Now, given that we also have a situation where our labor laws are not enforced well at all, and we don't see any improvement in the enforcement mechanisms, I think this, and also when you look at bargaining power of workers versus companies, I mean, let's guess which side the bargaining power is higher, right? Look, I'm not saying that this needs to be thrown out fully. What I'm saying is that this should go to a standing committee, and that there should be extremely wide-ranging consultations with, the thing is that we must realize that I also represent some companies. and companies tend to be very well represented. They tend to have very clear and strong lobbies. They tend to employ permanent lobbyists, more or less, right? Workers, some are organized into unions, many are not. Many are in the unorganized sector. So, why do we think that this, without any consultation, that this will adequately reflect all sides?
We take your point about consultations. Yes, Kavita,
I'd also like to briefly say that, you know, when you're talking about not forcing the women to do this, it will be consensual, you know, it will be based on consent. Their consent will be sought. That's what it says. I want to say that what are the safeguards to ensure that's going to happen? Because once you open the doors for this, the situation on the ground is that if you refuse to do, you know, work when you're asked to work, you will lose your job. There are no safeguards there. Labor, it's a virtual situation of lawlessness on the ground, and that is going to increase with the changes if the Rajasthan model is of labor laws reform is actually implemented. Many of the factories will actually be taken out of the frame of the Factory Act entirely. So in this situation,
point,
how
but
is
I
this
also
going
want
to
to bring the Congress back in on this. You know, the fact that there were amendments that you yourself, your party suggested to this act as well. At the time, you were actually in favor of it. What has changed since then? If anything, those amendments have now been made stronger.
See, till right now also, I'm not saying that the party is opposing it out and out. It is the concern about security, the concern about well-being of women working at this level in the factories. It is the concern which the Mahila Congress has expressed, and it is yet a matter of debate within the party. So I would not say that the party is out and out rejecting it, but as far as the women's organization is concerned, we are perturbed about the well-being of women, or about the safety measures that would ensure women working in the factory a safer atmosphere. Because right now, see after Nirbhaya, things have changed in our country. There is more concern about the women's harassment which has come into picture, and day in and day out we come across
what argument
cases.
is this?
Okay, Shaina, very quickly make your point.
We see cases.
How regressive is this statement? The Congress party in Parliament talks about not allowing women to go out and work at night because they're worried about safety and security. If it is a question of only safety and security, every woman at home is as insecure as she is at her workplace.
Do you think we're making the wood for the tree? Has it really become
development? We're talking about
the Mahila Congress to show that it is concerned about issues of women's security when actual larger concerns
the
are being
concern
ignored?
about, see, the concern about security is one thing, because we are not talking in a complete vacuum here. What I find really extremely problematic is the argument that women, this is to allow, because it's an equally regressive argument to say this is to allow women to spend time with their children in the day. Okay, because women are as it is doing a double shift. Okay, when they work, they are as it is doing a double shift. That is a reality.
But Kavita,
which is one. Let me finish my point. I'm saying that given that is a situation for women as well as for male workers, the whole effort is at the workplace, at these factories, is to extract as much labor as possible and is to leave as little time for leisure. Now you're saying you won't leave time for sleep either. You will say power nap in the afternoon. What is this? I mean, this is not the framework in which we can discuss these changes. Whatever these changes, I'm saying these changes for. I'm echoing what Karuna is saying to say that you discuss it with the unions before you come up with this proposal. You go ahead and you throw in a proposal pulled out of the air. I'm saying if you want to talk about the framework of women's rights at the workplace in the factories, then there is a frame in which that has been done for decades now by the trade unions, by the women's groups.
No.
Talk to them and you make whatever changes you're making.
Completely out of time. Quick last comments, Karuna. Yes.
Okay, a very quick point. But Shaina NC is saying that when it is being, that how do we know consultations will not be done? It should be done prior to tabling.
Exactly.
In any case, now there's an opportunity to send it to a multi-party standing committee, right? However, I will say very clearly that I think that when you look at these rights, you also have to look at equal pay for equal work, for instance. You said what is required. I can already tell you one thing that could go a long way. Ensure that there are committees in every single factory, not just what used to be called Vishakha committees and now are under the legislation that the UPA itself passed, but they should be equal rights committees.
Yes. Okay, if it's under consideration, well, that's all I think this debate has worked towards. larger consultations on the subject, and presumably
also
that's going to happen because
there is a provision of security
Yes.
with the drop off to the workplace and
Okay.
back and forth.
But how do
Okay,
you
all right,
enforce it?
all right,
You
all
know,
right.
there are a lot
It's
of-
more than
how do you make
just
sure
about
that
security. I think that's one thing that we've come to a consensus on in this debate. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us on Left, Right and Centre tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 p.m.